they're really coming now.
70.
Yes, maybe we
Counting.
can 84. We have 84 right now, and 6
Hi,
more
Noor.
people are coming. So, wow, it's a lot of people. Thank you so much for joining us. There's a lot of people, still people coming.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
No, 91 now. Oh my God. I thought this was going to be very, very small. That's amazing.
Oh, and we have people that are
Wow.
turned upside down.
95 and counting. I think we're gonna go more than 100, right? By the looks of it.
Actually, Renata, I'm going to send you a message.
Okay. More than 100. 101. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, what time is it now?
I sent you a quick note.
Okay, Carlos, can you do that then? Would you like to begin with that?
Let me see. Hi, Dalila, how are you? Good to see you.
Hello, good to see you too.
Hey, hi, Dalila.
Okay.
Hi.
Razan, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Would you by chance have on hand the DIDI video? So because I was thinking that like we have so many people from outside and so many people from schools, it would probably be good to start with a video. Then we give a bit of an introduction of what the Agile Factory was, and then we could move to the activity that Renata had prepared. Would that be possible?
Yes, let me get the video now.
Okay.
So,
fantastic.
okay, everyone, we're so excited to have so many of you here this morning. And this is what we're going to be doing, okay? We're going to introduce the IDI, the context of the Agile Factory. We're going to tell you what it is, what the Agile Factory was, and why are you here today. Then we're going to do a reflection about the context surrounding the Agile Factory and the whole challenge that we all had to face that came together with e-learning. We all had to learn these new ways to be together and learn online. We're going to share our reflections and experiences with each other, and then we're going to go into the experience of the group, which today it's called Hacking Manufacture. And it's a very inspiring example of the power of collaboration. Like the students came together, they were able to develop a face shield, their own design, they created their own design, and it's now completed and in process of being distributed to the hospital. So it's a very beautiful story. Of course, it has its problems, its challenges as well. That's why we want to share with you everything that we learned, and hopefully hear from you as well about your own experiences. So I'm gonna hand this over to Razan and Carlos so we can start watching the video of the IDI.
Thank you, Renata. So can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Fantastic, because we have some people that are writing in the chat that they cannot hear, but I'm glad that you can hear me. Sometimes my microphone doesn't work that well, so that's why I'm actually grabbing it and placing it close to my mouth. But welcome everybody. Good morning, and again, thank you for joining. We're especially happy that so many high school students or school students are joining today. And what we're going to do, as Renata said, we're basically going to have a little conversation. This is not going to be like an online class or a workshop or something like that. It's going to be more of a conversation, and it's going to be more of a reflection of sharing what we've done. And in a way, well, it has been a difficult time because our life changed because of COVID, and we all had to stay at home, and we all had to go through e-learning, and many of us had to try new software and new programs. And probably for many of you, like normal life was going to school, playing with your in the recess, playing with your friends, and so on, having lunch there, and then coming back. And suddenly, when COVID starts, it was like, no, now you have to stay at home. Now you have to do everything online. So exactly that same situation was our situation in the Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation as a university. And for us, it was probably even a bit trickier because some things are relatively easy to teach like online, like lectures, and when we talk, for example, about a specific topic. But in design, there's also a very big component in making. And for example, in the first project, in the hacking manufacture, it was about making the face shields for the health workers. So when we were trying to make, usually in normal circumstances, we go to the fabrication lab in our university, and we get together in our university and we discuss the projects, and in a way the communication is easier. But because we had to do all this remotely, it was much more difficult and a bit more slow than any usual process, again, for design. And again, it also meant that we had to, in a way, reinvent the way we teach design and the way we learn design. So having said that, I'll ask Razan if we're ready with the video, just to give you all an introduction of what the Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation is, for those of you that don't quite know. And then we will proceed to introduce the Agile Factory and to do some of the activities. Thank you, Razan.
No great thing, no beautiful invention happened just like that. It happens when we leave our comfort zone and embrace change, creativity, and out of the ordinary. We live in interesting times. We live in a world that's constantly asking questions, that's constantly changing, in a world where blockchain and robots will be the norm, where 85% of tomorrow's jobs don't exist yet, where being multi-skilled is not just celebrated, but essential. At Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation, we believe that we need to prepare you for the future, to teach you skills that will power your tomorrow. Today, design matters more than ever. But how can design help, you may ask? We combine disciplines so you become well-rounded. From product design, multimedia design, fashion design, strategic design management, it's where you will learn how to merge different design disciplines. Presenting a 4-year Bachelor of Design degree in collaboration with MIT and Parsons' new School of Design. DIDI, not just another design university.
Thank you, Razan. So that was just to let you know that we're a design university and that we believe in transdisciplinarity or in mixing different disciplines. And in a way, the experiment that we did with the Agile Factory was about mixing all these different experiences and different disciplines. Now, just a very quick comment. I was seeing in the group chat that some of you asked or were writing that you're going to miss your next class in school, and how much time does this take? I don't know what exactly your schools told you, if it's compulsory for you to attend or if it's voluntary. If it's just voluntary and you have another class in your school, feel free to leave and attend your class, please. And again, feel free to just stay also. So, Renata, would you like to introduce the website of the Agile Factory, so we can start quickly with the, let's say, with an overview, and then you start with your exercise, with your introduction. Is that good?
With the video, sure. Just a second. I'm just.
I think if we see the website,
Okay.
to have an
Yes.
overview of the Agile
yes.
Factory.
I will share my screen. Just 1 second.
Oh, we have 132 participants. That's amazing. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Excuse me.
Okay. Yes.
Is it okay if we turn on our camera?
Yes, of course. You can turn on your camera. So here we are. This is the site. This is the website for the Agile Factory. So as you can see, we have 3 main projects that all came from the students. Today we have some students from the Hacking Manufacturer group. It's our discussion is going to be centered on telling about how their experience was. So the Agile Factory was the way that we decided to respond to the challenges of the global pandemic. We came together, many different courses, 3 professors, me, Carlos, and Sejal, and we came up with a way to integrate students from the first year and students from the second year of design. And I think that's what I have to say. Do you have to say something else, Carlos, about the initiative?
Maybe, well, yeah, it was a student-driven initiative. So basically, we were having our normal semester and our normal classes, and many of the students got together and they started doing things for COVID, and especially some of our students that have friends or family that are medical doctors, or some of our students that previously were medical doctors. They said, okay, we are living this situation. Are we going to do anything? And some of them voluntarily started to design some face shields, looking at masks and so on. And they raised to our dean and to the whole university like this idea, aren't we going to do something? And that's why we started this. So after receiving this request from a group of students, we said, okay, let's see what we can do. So that's when we came with this proposal. And because we are a new university, currently our highest year are the second year students. We have been running for 2 years. So we asked all of our students who wanted to participate in this. And then there was many people that wanted to work on this. So we had a big group of more than 60 students. And we mixed the first year students and second year students. And basically we had these 3 topics: the open data interfaces, which Renata especially conducted and is more related to multimedia. And I'm just going to go quickly through the text. It's basically about using interactive design, emerging technologies and data gathering processes and visualization to articulate better sense-making tools and generate new insights about COVID-19 as a global and local challenge. So it's basically around multimedia, it's basically around data visualization, and it's basically about communicating what happens in the world. The Design for Emergency challenge, well, you probably all know nowadays we use apps for almost everything. And we have, let's say in design, we have something called service design, which is the design of services and includes the design of apps and so on. So we had another group that was very interested in designing apps for emergency, looking at problems and trying to design fast solutions, especially in the areas of health, transportation, and logistics. And there were some very, very interesting apps developed from that, dealing with mental health, with how people are feeling, and so on. And then we had specifically the group that we're going to discuss in this session, which is about hacking manufacture. And the idea is that, well, nowadays there's many things that need to be done very quickly. So because of the pandemic and because of so many people being in the hospitals, there was an increased need for protective devices, for respirators, for medical equipment. And many people were actually, or are still trying to develop these very quickly. So big companies or just people that are makers or designers all across the world were designing quick and easy to manufacture solutions to some of these problems. So it was basically in terms of protective devices, and you probably know all the people, well, especially the healthcare workers that have to use face shields, they have to use masks, they have to use special dresses to protect them, they have to use gloves constantly, even protection for their shoes, like cover very, very well. So this was one of the topics. There were other topics like, for example, kind of shelters for the operation rooms to isolate some of the people that were sick. And even you've probably seen in the news all the respirators and some of this medical equipment, that there was not enough medical equipment in many countries. So many people decided to produce this equipment and this protective devices. And we, as a design university, also took that challenge and produced some protective gear. And I think that's it from me. So Renata, if you want to continue with the exercise that you planned, thank you.
Let me just go back here to the. Just a second. Okay. So I want us to start by maybe introducing the students that actually worked in the project of hacking manufacture. Can you please say hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am. Hello.
Hello. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Okay. Now let's listen from the students from DIDI.
Our DIDI students, can you introduce yourselves, but of course telling us your name, and maybe telling us if you're in the first or the second year, and some of the things that you're studying, so that we can know, or
my name is
know a bit more about you. Go ahead, Noor.
My name is Noor, and I'm a second year student, and I'm studying product and multimedia design.
Hi, hello. My name is Nikhilesh Mohan, and same as Noor, I'm product and multimedia designer studying at DIDI, and we're in our second year right now.
Thank you, Nikki.
Hello, I'm a first year student. My name is Dalila, and I'm still in foundation year, but I intend to study product design and strategic design management.
Thank you, Dalila. Do we have someone else from the IDI? So, any other student? I think that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. So I wanted to propose an exercise for us to reflect on the whole situation that we've been facing so far. I want you to think about a moment, the first moment that comes to your mind before the pandemic. Just remember something that happened, a situation that you were experiencing. The first thing that comes to your mind.
Like a situation or
Yes, somebody is saying on the chat, a football class. You're in football class. Okay. Can you share me what your feelings were in that football class? Swimming pool. Okay. Going to friends. So I think I can see a pattern. The pattern is the first thing you think about when you think about life before the pandemic is the things you are missing right now, right? Right? You can talk, you can speak.
Yes.
Right? So we all miss our life before the pandemic because it's the things that we lost that present themselves. And when we think at that time, we realize, oh, okay, there's something that's missing from my experience right now. And now let's change perspective. Let's see, thinking from the pandemic, when the lockdown started. When you think about this time that we're living, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Minecraft.
Game.
Sitting at home.
Minecraft.
Gaming. Yeah.
Minecraft. Oh my God. Fortnite.
Minecraft is everyone's favorite now.
Memes, Minecraft, gaming. So basically internet.
TikTok and YouTube.
Oh,
this is fantastic.
TikTok, Fortnite, Netflix. Oh, wow.
Where's the Zoom?
Okay.
You guys, fantastic.
Zoom. Okay, let's hear from the second year students. Noor, can you tell us from your experience, what is the thing that has changed the most from those moments? And when you think about yourself before and now, do you think you can see a change? If so, yeah. How can you describe this change?
So from pre-quarantine, I used to always be busy going around. I was always moving somewhere, whether it was in uni, between Abu Dhabi, Dubai. I was always moving somehow. But then now I feel like I've taken the time to just slow down and really immerse myself in what I'm doing. And I realize that now I'm doing more creative things. Like before, it was more about just getting the work done. Now I'm actually taking the time to understand what I'm doing, and I'm realizing that if I'm going to do something, it's better to make it a quality thing rather than quantity, less about just quickly doing it, more about doing it properly, doing it right, taking that time because we don't have any other time to do it.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much. Delilah, how about you?
Honestly, what Noor said is very inspiring, and I definitely feel what she said. As in before, I used to run through life, and it was just so fast. The pace was so fast, and I couldn't keep up. Whereas now, I learned to pause a little bit, and I even got the chance to spend quality time with the family, and I got to know them better. So I definitely value this a lot.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Nikki Lash.
Hello. I mean, it's pretty much what's been going on in the chat. I think it's just Netflix again and again and again. But I think along with that, there's also I think we've just got a lot of time to kind of reflect and I think do things at our own pace. Right? So that's kind of been it's helping us a lot compared to when it was before. So that's something I've been trying to use.
Thank you. Thank you very much. From my perspective, it's very connected to what Noor said. I think that it can be it's actually a very big difference when I compare the work that I'm doing now since the lockdown with the work that I was doing before. There's a very big difference in quality. I think that because of the quality of attention and focus that the isolation gave me, I think I'm able to reach a kind of depth in my work that before, because of the pace was very fast, I wasn't. I was missing. I was missing that opportunity. I was going maybe too much for the quantity, and I was missing out a little bit on the quality. And so I think that we will all agree that the situation that we're facing brings problems, but it also brings opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to really face ourselves, really face what's important for us. And when you do that, it changes your priorities, it changes your perspective, and it changes how you see the world. So anyone else would like to share from our beautiful guests today? Or Carlos, would you like to share as well?
Yeah, why not? It's been a big change, but I think it has also brought many positive elements. I think especially at the beginning, most of us were very anxious and a bit worried because we didn't know what was going to happen. And I think all of us had this worry that we would get sick, or our parents would get sick, or even our grandparents, which seems a bit worse. And it's been a very difficult situation. But on the other hand, I think we've discovered many good things, as Noor and Dalila and Nikki and you were saying. For me, it was also a time to spend more time with my family, to start doing aerobics from YouTube, because we were locked in the house. But actually that became quite a fun activity. And if we think of it also for the planet, I think it has been very good. And for all of us to think that the economy doesn't necessarily have to be in one single way. But for example, not commuting or not going in the car every single day out, less gases. Many of the big cities in the world were much cleaner. So I think it has also taught us a lot in terms of how as a society we can live. So that's the main reflection for me. Thank you, Renata. and it's around 10:30. So I'm wondering if we should play
Yes.
the
Okay.
hacking manufacture video.
Can I say something?
Yes, yes, please,
Yes.
Mustafa.
Yes, I think that before before COVID-19 and before all these precautions we are taking, our biggest exercise was to come to walk from home to school. So and we didn't know at that time that that now our exercise will be to walk from our bed to our table. So that's a lot of difference.
Yes, yes, it's a big, thank you, Mustafa. That's actually a really nice comment, and it shows how our life has changed. And for all the people
Thank you.
joining us, is there anybody else that would like to say something of how your life changed?
Can I say? My life changed from going out, from not liking the outfit one bit and not liking it at all. I just wanted to stay at home. But then when I got my wish of staying at home, I found that outside is much better going outside than staying at home.
That's true. We usually appreciate what we don't have. So that's a really good reflection. Thank you very much.
Can I say? Can I say, sir?
Yes, yes.
The biggest change in my life is when I go to school every day. I thought if there would be less periods and there would be no school, but now in this situation, my eye strain is getting very much very more. So I'm feeling that it is better to go school every day and have more periods.
Again, we appreciate what we don't have. So before we didn't want to go to school, and now we want to go to school and play with our friends and see our colleagues and our students. We as teachers also have that.
May I say something?
Yes, yes.
I feel a lot better because now from waking up in 5 in the morning, I can wake up relax at 8 instead of waking up so early. Because I have to go through car and there's all traffic you have to worry about. And getting to school late now, you don't have to worry as much.
Sir, can I tell something?
Yes, yes, Mustansir, go ahead.
Sir, actually, our daily routine has really changed because, like, in normal life, we were like going to school and like we walked to school, and it was really like our life was really active. And nowadays, like, we are just really lazy at home.
Sitting on one.
May I say something?
Yes,
Can
yes.
I add on to
Sir,
that?
the fact that we are sitting at home for a few months now, so the quarantine, once it gets over and we start going back to school, the people, as soon as they see school, they'll be like, is that our school? I don't remember that. So the fact
You're
that we're
kind of
going out is
forgetting what it felt.
we just remember. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And
Sir,
you
adding
don't
to the
go out in
fact,
your car anymore. So if you go out and you see your car, is that our car? I thought we had something smaller or something bigger. No one would remember anything apart from their bed.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
everyone. Thank you so much. Now we have to go. I'm going to show you something now that's going to inspire you because you're going to see our students. They were at home just like you are, but they were able to work together to create something really amazing. Let's see the face shield that they created. Let me share my screen again. Just 1 second. Okay.
Renata, I think the sound, I can't hear it, the video.
Renata, exit and reshare and click
I
on
have
allow
to.
audio. Computer.
Oh, okay. Just 1 second. I have to stop sharing and then share again. Share computer sound. Okay.
Hi, we're in the middle of a pandemic, obviously. One of the problems the doctors in Dubai are facing is the shortage of face shields caused due to its increasing demand and disproportional supply. Upon a glance, it is easy to see that the face shields are difficult to mass manufacture and assemble due to its complexity and bulkiness. We also spoke to doctors from the USA, UK, India, and UAE to see how we could further enhance not only its production but also comfort. So, why us? Our designs are optimized for local manufacture and assembly using easily available materials and resources. After nearly 18 trials and iterations in such a short period of time, we are proposing two models. The first one called ear cover and the second model named as fishbone that provide the following benefits. Compared to the other popular models, the ear cover model covers the ears, offering increased protection. This model also has a foam strip for the forehead, for comfort during extended periods of use. These improvements were widely requested by healthcare professionals. The fishbone model is optimized for minimum material use and can be assembled with easily available rubber bands. It also offers a back strap, or fishbone, which makes it versatile and easily adjustable for different face sizes. Both models also include positive messages to provide emotional well-being and a sense of solidarity in these difficult times. The designs are easy to assemble with minimal components, cost-effective, comfortable, and suitable for fast local manufacture. To make this project a reality, our team will invest 60% of the MBRU Hackathon prize to manufacture and donate face shields to hospitals in Dubai.
Now,
Thank you so much. Let me stop sharing.
Hello.
Hello. So, this is the project that has been done by our students. Today we have here Dalila, Nikhilesh, and Noor. Now I would like to hear from our students, and much in the same way, I would like to ask you two questions for reflection. I would like to ask you, before you started the Agile Factory, when you think at that very first reaction that we all had to the pandemic, if you go back to that moment in time, how is it different from the reality of trying to make something happen, right? And when you look back into the first initial idea of the way you thought things were going to be and the reality of trying to make things happen, and the reality of working from home, the reality of doing things online, and having to depend on very different circumstances to try to get things done. When you look back at that process, what do you think was your most valuable learning outcome that you got from the whole experience? And if you could share with everyone. So anyone, can you, Nikhilesh or Dalila or Noor?
Please.
This is a question for the students from DIDI, okay?
So when we first started, I think we had a vision in mind that we thought was a lot more easier to attain. So it was, first it was just iterate, ideate and prototype, and then start manufacturing. But then it actually took a much longer process than that, and a lot more steps that we didn't realize. And looking back, I think the most valuable thing that we learned was how to actually work together, honestly. Because when working in real life, it's very different to working at home. So learning how to work together through virtual media is it's a skill. It's not easy. You have to learn that skill.
Thank you, Noor.
Completely agree with her. I think like what teamwork has become actual teamwork in its true sense. It's just that we spend so much more time together. A 15-minute talk and going out and doing our own thing. It's become like super collaborative. And I think like right at the beginning of the Agile Factory.
Your
there was-
voice is too low.
Hello, sorry, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yes.
There we go. Right. Yeah. So right at the beginning, I think the biggest fear all of us had was how are we going to make this happen sitting at home, right? But I think like over the 2 months, we've sort of like been in the process enough to learn it, and that's sort of like that's definitely our biggest takeaway from all of this. Yep.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nikki.
That's great. And Dalila?
Well, for me, it's kind of the opposite. I started thinking that's just impossible. We can't do it, and then slowly I realized that really like it is possible. And faculty and students, like the second year students, really gave us the tools to make it possible. And I think we made the most out of it. And also, as Noor said and Niklush said, it's super important to collaborate and to be super patient and understanding because we're all in a different situation. And to be able to come up with good work, we need to listen to each other and try to work together for the best, no matter what the outcome is.
Mm-hmm. Thank you,
Thank you,
Dalila. That's
Dalila.
fantastic. And
Thank you
maybe
so much.
I'd like to share also. I actually have one of the samples here. Well, it's clear, so probably most of you cannot see it. But I have to say that in the end, everybody supported the project. So
Can you show again?
yes, I'll actually. This is
What is
the
it?
face. It's a face shield. I'll actually try to wear it and see. So it's as simple as taking the fishbone, putting it into the rubber band.
Is this made by the DIDI student?
Yes, this was designed by DIDI students and we manufactured it. And the story that I wanted to tell you is that to make them, we're going to donate them to the hospital. And now I'm wearing it, as you probably see. But the really interesting story is that everybody in the IDI supported, and even our families supported. So, for example,
Is this fishbone?
The fishbone is the back part. So the back part that I'm showing is what we call the fishbone, and that's in the back, so you can adjust. And it's just. Pardon? What was the question?
Can I question something?
Yes.
As this product was made, I want to ask like two things. I want to have a suggestion. Is that the back thing which is like there, okay? And it's a thing which you can even adjust if your head is a little bit smaller, so you can adjust it, and then according to the size of the faces. But
yes.
It could even be better. Like example, if this thing and the mask would be together at one place, so like not different. It could be at one place plus, so that it would be at the ending would be same. The mask and the protective shield would be at one, like the what do you call the thing.
Yes. The headband could be connected, and it could be one single piece. That's actually a very good idea. And again, as we showed in the video, we explored many different ideas, and we tried many different ideas. So this is the design process, and what you were saying is right. And even from what we achieved, even from this, we could still improve it. And then we need to do some tests. So we need to have some people wear them and tell us what works or what can be improved. And hopefully in the next time we would make it better. So for example, with the comment that we just had from one of you, that it could be maybe one strap because this could get lost. That's actually a good comment, and maybe we could do another test in the future to try to improve it.
Sir, I have
Now,
a question.
yes.
Can we attach a mask to this anyway?
Can you what?
Can we attach a mask and do it? Because on the plastic, if any bacteria or virus touches, so we need to wash it.
Yeah, so how the people in the hospitals, what they do is that they actually have many layers of protection. So first they have, for example, on the mouth and nose, they have the N95 masks. That is those white masks that filter the air and the virus. On top of that mask, they actually have the blue masks that almost everybody is wearing, and they dispose of these with every patient. And then
surgical masks?
Yes, surgical masks. And then on top of that, they will wear these face shields, because what you want to avoid is that if you're a nurse or a medical doctor, you want to avoid that if somebody sneezes or there's particles in the air, that they actually come to your face. So this is another barrier to avoid becoming sick.
Where can we get them?
Sorry, I couldn't understand the question.
That doesn't suffocate them. Wearing that all layers and the mask.
Most of the
breathe, but it doesn't suffocate them.
I think they're used to it. Yeah. Sir, maybe you could make the face mask more flexible. So if the patient is feeling uncomfortable, he can easily stretch it, and maybe he could have more breathing space.
Yes, so that's a good point, and that's why one of the parts is actually to make this part, the headband that I'm showing, to be able to have different separations from the shield, to try to make it comfortable for different people. But yes, all these ideas that you're telling us are things that we need to consider as designers to design a new product. So some people might think, oh, that's just a simple piece of plastic. That's very easy. You would take 1 hour or 1 day to design that. It's not that simple. It's a process that takes a lot of time to be able to think about all these things.
And as in the video, it was said that there was also a message written on it.
Yes, in these ones, we didn't put the message because either we would need to print it, or with the laser cutter, it would affect the material. But the original idea was that there would be positive messages for the sick people in the hospitals to help them feel better, because that's also very important.
Sir, how many times can you wear this? Is it
That's actually a very good question. I wouldn't have a number, but I know that this can be cleaned. This can be disinfected with alcohol or washed and then used again. So it would probably last until it breaks. So these are reusable products. And maybe I'll allow our students to answer the questions and not just me answering the questions.
Sir,
Can I say something?
Sir,
Yes.
I also have a question.
Please.
So, sir, my question is, if you're going to a workspace and outside or something for business and stuff, would it be uncomfortable to continuously walk with that and with the mask and other stuff with you, like a bag, and you would also get looks by other people just wearing this?
This face shield is for doctors, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
but what if you see a doctor just walking with this while somebody and people are seeing him?
I think nowadays we get, well, I'll let Noor or Nikki or Dalila answer the questions. What do you think?
Sir, Can I say something?
Yes, Mustafa.
Yes. So in the basically, I think that in the hospitals, the doctors wear a lot of protective suits, and I think people can't recognize them basically because of all the protective gear that they are wearing. So I think instead of writing a positive message, you can you can put their name on it.
Yes, that's a very nice idea. And actually, some hospitals were doing that. So in some hospitals, because people imagine that you're a patient and that you just see somebody like an astronaut covered all the face, and you cannot see if he's smiling or not, and the eyes and so on. So in many hospitals, they actually made some tags with the photographs of the nurses and the medical doctors, because we like to see people's faces, and that's a really good comment. Thank you.
So I want to add up on Mustafa's point.
Yes.
But as Mustafa said, we can also find a safe but transparent material to cover our mouth and nose, so it will be so people can see our expressions better.
That's true. And some designs for masks, and you know where this is absolutely important, when you have people that are deaf, uh, because people that are deaf cannot hear you like I'm talking right now, so they rely on looking at your mouth to understand what you're saying. So of course, if I'm covering my mouth with a mask, the deaf people would not know that I'm speaking. So in some countries, some people actually designed some masks that have a transparent part to allow the people that are deaf to see the movement of the lips, and to be able to understand what some of the doctors are saying. That's a good idea, and it has been used in some countries.
Where can we actually get these?
Well, these are currently, we are not selling them. We're basically just donating them to the hospitals, because the people that really need these the most are the people that work in the hospitals. So all of us, just to go to the supermarket or to go outside, we don't really need this. Just with our normal cloth masks is fine. But the people that the nurses and the medical doctors that work in the hospitals, they really need it. And because they need it so much, we have many people are trying to make enough of these shields to provide them to the doctors and nurses, and that's what we did. So one of the stories that I wanted to tell you is that this was, everybody in DIDI participated. So, for example, a nice story. Yes, this was initiated by the students, and they started with the designs, and some of us, the professors, started to help. But for example, our security guard, he's been staying in the university, and he helped us to assemble many of these. The people that work in our fabrication lab helped us to cut all the pieces, and in some cases, some of our families are helping us to assemble these. Our dean also helped us to design some of the graphics. We're going to have some instructions for the people that are going to use them. So our dean also helped us with that. Our students started with the work, and our dean helped improve it. So what's really nice about this project is that everybody put a little bit, everybody collaborated to make it a reality. It was not always easy, because as some of our students were saying, working together, especially when we're working, yes, just with virtual meetings and so on, it's the communication is not always easy. But looking back now, it's very satisfying to think that we did something.
Can I point out something?
the fact that the entire mask is made of transparent plastic. So when the doctors are doing surgery or some other thing with lots of light, which is included, doesn't the transparency actually make it even brighter? So it could hurt their eyes more. So the fact maybe if they could, if the plastic could be the type of material which they use in sunglasses or glasses which, when exposed to light, allow the person to see through, but still it doesn't. It shortens the amount of light going through.
That's a very good idea. Thank you very much. Now, yes, I think no design is perfect and we can always improve it. But also sometimes we need to balance the final solutions. So probably if we try to have this material like the sunglasses and that it changes color and supports us or helps us not to have all this light, maybe it would make it very, very expensive. So, or maybe the material is not easy to find. So these are many of the things that we need to consider when we're designing a product to manufacture and to make a reality to distribute. Noor, Dalila, or Nikki, anything else that you want to say, especially about the process or about the outcome?
Can I ask something? Is this mask made from a separate? Is this the plastic for this mask? Is it separately made, or can it be in some way? It can be recycled by the other plastic bottles that are not eligible for use anymore. So they can actually be recycled to make this.
It can be recycled. So the material that we used for this face shields is called PET. And PET is also the material that is used for the bottles of water. And this plastic can be recycled. So yes, the idea is that these shields can be used several times by the doctors, and they can be washed and disinfected and used several times. But once they break or once they cannot use them anymore, these could be recycled. So that's a very good point.
Sir, I want to say something that the mask, like above, the design is that the designs that it was something written like on of the face shields. Something was written. So the slogans, actually slogans. So they on every different face shield they can put different slogans.
Yes, that's a good point, and we wanted to print the messages.
Could be a sticker or something.
Or it could be a sticker. That's a really good idea. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
Why don't you make separate masks for the police officers too? Because they are also outside, and if someone gets infected, they are also at risk.
Well, that's a very good question. I don't really have the exact answer. I think that probably at this stage, the medical doctors are the people that are most at risk. Now, yes, the people in the supermarkets, the people in the restaurants, the police people, they're also at risk, but probably not all of them have to use these masks. So, for example, if maybe because of your age, many of you cannot go out or go to the supermarket, but in the supermarket, instead of having everybody, let's say all the people in the supermarket wearing one of these, they actually put some big plastic shields in front of the cashiers to avoid, again, that there's that there's liquid exchange between people from sneezing, from talking, and so on. So, but yes, that's also an idea.
Can I tell something?
Okay, let's wrap up the part of asking questions about the design and the product. Thank you so much for your questions. But now I would like to change the topic of our discussion. Because so far, we've been talking about the IDI, right? We've been talking about the Agile Factory and the face shield that the Hacking Manufacturer group has produced. And this is a great experience, and I think we all learned a lot from it. But I would like to change the subject right now to talking about the other side of the process, which is virtues and attitude and the things that we cannot necessarily see, right? Those things are invisible. They don't really, there's no way that you can make something like courage or dedication. Those are the most important things when we need to face a challenge so big like Corona. And it's hard to make something that's invisible, something that we can express somehow. So I want to go back to the initial attitude that each one of the students had to have in order to, when you make the choice to do anything, be it attend school, be it try to understand, or even maintain your awareness of the problem, requires courage, which is something that is a quality that can be nurtured. And so I think that from my perspective as an educator, one of the things that is part of the motivation for running a project such as the Agile Factory is to promote and to nurture and to encourage those kinds of virtues and those kinds of values to the students. And it's easy to just dismiss this intention and get lost in just the product itself. But I want you to know, especially the students that were a part of the Agile Factory, I want you to know that even though maybe during many times you actually forgot, or maybe you weren't even aware that just by being there, you were expressing and you were being a living testimony of courage, and you were actively embodying those values. Don't forget that. For me, as an educator, and this I say to all of you that are present here, this is the most important. This is the most important thing that comes out of an experience like that. It's not about, of course, it's nice if we can get some face shields to the hospitals, if we can actually contribute somehow. Of course, this is the very important part. However, for me as an educator, my greatest achievement is to see my students embodying those values, embodying the values of courage, embodying the values of bravery, of dedication. And I have to thank you guys for that, the ones that are here and the ones who are not here, and thanking them as well. And this is something that I want you all to think about, right? The challenge brings us the opportunity for us to make those kinds of choices, right? In relation to how are we going to deal with the situation? How are we going to respond to this situation? Right? So I want us to think about the courage that it's needed. And this project is actually very interesting because the face shield in itself, who is it going to? Is it going to those who have the courage to be in the front lines? You know, in the virus battles, this is what we're doing, right? We're using our own skills to try to bring some extra protection to those who are already having so much courage. So maybe you're not aware of the fact that right now, just by being here, all of you, Mustafa, Hamza, Mustanzid, all of you are actually, just your presence here is already showing that you are so brave to be thinking about these issues and not just trying to forget, right? So I want you to just remind you of that. So before we wrap up, I want to ask the second year students if there's any final message you would like to give to the next generation. I think it would be really nice to have like some final words from your experience of actively dealing with this moment in time. What can you tell the next generation?
Keep up your drive. All these questions that you're asking Professor Carlos and all of us, all these questions, all these suggestions, you sort of lose that on the way, but to keep at it and keep asking questions, keep questioning everything, because if you don't, then who will? What's your reason for doing things? So yeah.
Good point, Noreen. Very good point.
Thank you, Noor.
I don't think there's anything to add on top of that, is there? I mean, it's just like, exactly like she said, it's just curiosity, you know, that kind of dies off as we all grow old, let's say. but yeah, I mean, it's just it's curiosity that keeps you asking the right questions and then pushing you towards even better answers, right? So keep at it, people. And thank you again for being here. And I know it's also a day of school and all of that, but thank you for spending your time with us. Right? Hopefully
We
see you
loved having
soon.
your energy here.
Oh yes.
It was a lot of
Questions
fun.
were, yeah.
And Dalila, I want to invite you also to reflect I was very impressed when I read your document, your reflection of the whole situation, and I think there's a positive message of what we can learn from this experience and the 3 steps that you described. So if you want to talk a bit about it, that would be fantastic. But if you don't, it's also fine.
Yeah, I can. Basically, during this lockdown, I realized that there are 3 zones. A zone of fear, so when we all panic and get like anxious a bit about things because we don't know what's happening or what we need to do. And then there's a zone of learning, and the zone of learning is where we take a step back and we try to look at things in a positive way, just like all the students here. They have such a positive energy, and I think this is something. It's a gift. Like if you can just stay positive, you will reach in your life. And I think when you take that positivity to start doing amazing things, you reach a zone of growth, and that's the ultimate zone to be in. And to maintain that zone of growth, you need to continue being positive and look at things in a beautiful way. And even if things are not good, then we can work to make them better. And knowing that things can be better is just the key to succeed in life and be happy, I guess.
Thank you, Dalila.
Thank you, Dalila. Okay. Any final questions?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, my question is, how long did it take you for making this whole project and making the face masks and trying to make a good design at first.
I'll let maybe one of the second year students to answer this question.
I think it took from around April, so the full month of April and May, so 2 months.
Which part took the longest to make?
Longest was we came up with the ideas quickly, but finding the right idea with the right measurements and the perfect everything, that part took the longest. Just
Okay.
perfecting the whole thing.
I wanted to ask, is this the final project or are there going to be more changes to this?
So for now, this is the final one that we're donating. But if we pick up the project again in the future, then it'll of course be developed further. But for now, this is the final one.
I want to say something about doctors when they check the patients of those people who have coronavirus. They have to change their clothes about every patient. So it is better that we can create a suit that automatically kills the bacteria.
So you
That would
just
be
organized another project for us, and that's great. And we would like to involve you in this new project. This is the sort of projects that we need to develop with your
You are the
school.
kind of student that we like.
Sir, the materials
You should
you
come
use
study with us.
could be the materials that are used in rain.
Just spray the sanitizer on the clothes. Yeah, the
The
clothes.
little droplets which come out if a person sneezes or coughs, those could be deflected using that one material. So if you were to make protection gear out of that material, it would help the doctors in not getting infected, but actually keeping the droplets away.
The clothes like the material may have like sanitization, something like that, which would protect others, like the ones which are close to that person.
I wanted to ask, is there actually a way to automatically heat up the masks in some ways? Like when there's actually heat directly hitting at your face, like when you go out, there's sunlight directly hitting your face. Is there a way to take on that heat inside the mask when you go into a cooler area to automatically kill the bacteria?
that would be some new technology. Nothing. The only thing that you could
I
maybe
have a
do
new
is
idea, like
have a pigment
when
on it.
when we go out for anything, we get sweat and we can't touch our face, so we can make some gear for that.
A towel?
I have an idea.
Maybe.
It's about
I have a question.
That's a good comment. In the UK, there were some
That is
doctors
connected.
that were creating some devices to put on in your arms, so they would block your arms and they would avoid that you touched your face.
Sort of like the restrictive movement thing that we did
Yes.
in first year.
Yes.
I have a question.
That's actually something that some doctors have done too, to avoid to help people avoid touching too much their face, because that's where the virus travels and infects you.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, Huzaifa?
Normally when the doctors wear this mask and that kit, the whole kit which they wear before going near the patient, normally doctors they are suffering because they don't get enough oxygen in that, and many doctors died because of this, because they don't get oxygen in that type of they are not comfortable with that clothes. So maybe if the next project, if it would be like making like comfortable masks and clothes, that would be like
That has oxygen, so maybe like a spacesuit, but with oxygen to help them breathe better. Yeah, that's I think that.
Sir, they're using
And
the
I'm
technology
very
in
happy
China.
that you're all throwing these ideas, because that's exactly what design is about imagining the future and throwing lots of crazy ideas that can help us imagine the future in a better way.
Sir, I feel that every single
Sir, project for the sweat problem, what you do is you can make a system where you could make a tissue or something and it will just clean your face for you. If you want like more advanced technology.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sir,
Thank you very much. Great
the first
ideas.
case of COVID-19, the Chinese had already made a suit with oxygen tanks at the back so that they could breathe properly while not getting infected.
Mm-hmm.
And I also have an idea that the face shield you have made, that face shield, you can add some pockets so we can also like add some tissues or something so that to wipe your face if you get sweated.
That's a good
Can I
idea.
suggest
We
something?
should provide our
Sir,
face
can I ask
shields with
something?
some
Or you
alcohol
could make
wipes
spongy
so
helmets.
that they can be cleaned.
Sir, I have
That's
a question.
yes.
Instead of making something, like a sauna, where inside when you go inside a sauna, everything heats up around you and it gets more humid. So you can make something like that. Instead of making it humid, you can make the whole room heat up. So it would kill, if there was a virus on you, before it would get inside, before it would go inside your body, it would die of heat. Something like a sauna.
Actually, Muhammad,
Maybe.
I think in various countries they have already made like in the public places they've made like a dome in which it's like a sanitization process, and like if you go in there, so like you get all sanitized and all your clothes get sanitized, and then you can go back to your house area. So they've already made like something like that.
Can I suggest something?
Yes. Okay, well, we're running out of time, and maybe some of you will also have classes soon and so on. We love your suggestions, and we would like to remind you that as the DIDI, we have many workshops during the summer holidays. So please make sure that either your teachers or you or your parents sign you up to our DIDI newsletter, and that you can receive the information about the workshops, because we will have many online workshops during the summer and about different topics. So please join us. Again, thank you all very, very much for joining us today, both the external people as well as the people from
Thank
the
you so much.
DIDI. Thank you so much for your engagement, your participation, and some of the great ideas that we hope we can use to continue improving our project. And well, Noor, Nikki, Dalila, Renata, and I think we also had Sejal around, who was silent, but if you're still around, if you want to.
Sir, your voice is low.
Okay, that's probably my microphone, but thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Great
Have a nice
ideas
day.
and great to hear you speak up.
Bye.
Have a
Have a
nice
great
day.
day.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.